Hi folks, welcome back to the Hoard. All the timestamps, welcome to Sunday. Not as pretty as yesterday. So, what is this thing? If you kind of get under the front here and look, oh god, I don't know, could you guys see that right there? It is a 1984. I don't know. Am I making it better or worse? Let's go with it from here. So, it's a 1984. Made in 8 of 84. So, to be honest with you, most of the time that makes it an 85. And here she is. I have this off, but I turn this on with a screwdriver here, and it does have a little bit in the battery. Well, let's give this thing, actually let's go through it front to back. Starting in the front, it's got a decent rack. The tires are a little bit out of alignment. Like all these, the front suspension is hard like a rock. The front tires actually look halfway decent. I didn't notice any cracks on it. It's got a little interesting front fender there, right? Before I bought it, it was in a spot that I really couldn't look at the frame very well, but I'm not seeing, if anybody's familiar with these bikes, these things are known for cracking the frame, particularly here and the other side. We know the recoil has a problem. The shifter, right, is not welded, which is a good thing. Still actually has the little indicator on there, which is a nice thing. The neutral light is on, and when I pop it in reverse, the reverse light goes on, right? If I take it out of neutral, it goes out. So those are kind of nice things. The back tires do hold air for some period of time. They were kind of flat when I loaded it on the truck. They do have cracking here. The back rack is here. But the trunk lid's on it. Trunk lids, believe it or not, are hard to come by. It's got one of the rubber thingies for the tire. So yeah, I just want to get this closed up. That way I don't use my lawn tractor to find it later. So I took it out and got it a bath this morning. I brought it over to the car wash. It was pretty nasty. There was a lot of stuff. That's what's left. While he was futzing around with it, obviously he took the top off of that. And it's probably sitting in his garage. Let me ask before I get too far into it. Calvin, is this the thing you're looking for? This strange wing nut thing that holds the battery thing down? Is that what you're after, that wing nut? Okay, let's turn this on and see if we can't fire you up. Give it a little magic juice. Didn't install it would move. I mean, the carburetor obviously needs some love and attention. If I had to guess, the idle circuit is clogged to a crap. Do I have a headlight here? No. No. The headlight doesn't seem to work. Well, I got one tail light. So I got one tail light. Sounds like the exhaust system's intact, which is a good thing. Here, this is off again, and once again, the battery has a little something to it. Probably I'll charge it up. I'm just looking at it, and I'm trying to figure out how far do I want to get into this right now, given I got all these other projects going on, right? And the reason why I'm saying that is to get that carburetor out. I could get to those two bolts. I gotta get the do you have a metal band on? Doesn't feel like it has a metal band. I could probably get this air filter off, right? I only got one screw, one bolt there and one bolt over there. If I could get the air filter off, I could get those two off. I think I could get the carburetor out the back. This thing has a Kevin carburetor. I looked at it, and I just as soon rebuild it and keep it on there if possible. I checked the oil. It was like empty. The little bit that it ran, there was no plumes of smoke coming out of it. There were no bad sounds that I noticed right off the top of my head. At some point, this thing may have plowed for a living, because I think like this extra stuff on here, these extra two plates and those down there, I think this thing had a plow on it at some point. As of right now, I'm thinking, I don't know. It's hard. This was part of a package deal, right? This and the go-kart. I paid $450 for the pair of them. Probably, if I were to build this out, I'd probably have $400 into it thus far. For $400, I'm thinking it's really a pretty nice deal. Not that I'm going to sell it. It probably, I don't know. If I don't keep it here, I'll run it out to Pennsylvania. But if I mean, what's she worth? With the gas tank patched up, and by the way, the gas tank really really looks pretty good inside. I mean, this is a smear, right? But with the gas tank patched up, and I go through the trouble of putting a key switch into it, right? Figure out what's wrong with the headlight. You know, throw a $20, $30, well, $30. I don't think there's such a thing as a $20 seat cover anymore, but throw a seat cover onto that. I don't know. She's got to be a $600, $700 machine. I mean, all this stuff is going for crazy money nowadays. I mean, I would have to park it so that they see this side, and you know, I don't know, hide that side in the shade. But I don't know. It's I mean, stuff is going for crazy money, so I don't know. I don't know what it's worth. In the old days, considering the battered plastic and it wasn't running, you know, you would have picked it up for, you know, $50 to $250. No one would have ever thrown $400 at it. I mean, but that's the old days. We got to get used to the new numbers, right? And that's where it gets scary. If you got $400 into a machine like this, and you fire it up, and the engine's banging, or she's smoking like a banshee, or she doesn't start because it had thrown time and the valves were all smashy, then you kind of got a problem, right? It's a shaft drive, so it's not all that easy to put a different motor on, right? You know, so you know, at $200, you buy something like this. You know, you can start racks, trunk lid, headlight, front rack. You know, this plastic that's covering the gas tank. You know, the recoil starter is pretty. I'm not sure what shape the spring and the dogs are in. But, you know, for a couple $100, you can kind of get out of it. As you're starting to go $400 or $500, you know, I mean, the back tires are kind of dry rotted. The rims look like they're in halfway decent shape front and back. So you'd... If you had $500 into it, you'd have a tough time parting it out and getting out of it alive. You could say, oh, well, I can sell all those parts, you know, and get my $500. Yeah, but, I mean, you got to tear it all apart. You got to deal with, you got to pay eBay part of that money. So at $500, you're in a little bit deep. Once again, this would have been a $200 bike, especially considering it didn't start. For me, I was asked why I didn't start it while it was there. To be honest, that was kind of deliberate. He turned it over for me, and I heard the engine had compression and all the other stuff. I kind of made the assumption, A, it had no gas in it, or B, it needed some carb work, right? He had said that it hadn't been running a little while. So I was willing to go out on the limb. He wanted $200 for the go-kart, and he wanted $400 for that. So that was a $600 combo platter, right? And if this thing would have started, right, because he said he could get the go-kart started. He was sure of that. But if this thing would have started, I wouldn't have got the two of them for $450. I probably would have been more like $550. So I kind of deliberately didn't push him to get this thing started. I really didn't want to. I kind of didn't want to hear it run, because if I would have heard it run, I probably would have had to pay for it running, and that's a different number than paying for it not running. So, right, Harvey's bad. I really, considering that it doesn't have like a lot of wear in this area here, I'm thinking I don't think this thing has 1,000,000 miles on it. It's hard to tell, but the handlebars, I don't know. It might have done a roll at some point. It still has the original grips on it. The tires have been changed, right? You can see the yellow stripe on it. The tires have been changed. Stinks like hell. It leaks gas. So I'm going to have to put something underneath it. And, right, you can see the drippy there. I'm not quite sure why it's leaking gas. There, it must have some, the gas tank must have some rot. The big things when looking at these, should you go out and try to buy one tomorrow, check to see if the frame's cracked. Once again, there, right around where that cross member goes across. So there, and the other side, I showed you that. That's one thing to look at. Seems that for some reason a lot of these have welded shift rods, so check for that. And then you fire it up. You listen for bad noises. I like to buy them with complete exhaust systems, and this one has that. I didn't see anything bad back here. I didn't test the back brakes. It might actually have back brakes. The front brakes, I can kind of hear something up front when I squeeze it, but they don't do anything. Anyway. So, my 1984 TRX200 Craigslist deal, call it $400, and I got it running. It starts. Now it's a matter of detailing it up and getting it ready to go. Actually, the alignment doesn't even look half bad. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your head up. And folks, please get out there and enjoy all your days. Bye now.